Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Yoshi Lan, and today I'm going to be talking about spiritual bypassing. Now, in my earlier videos, I said I wasn't going to be talking about this, and I have another video about spiritual bypassing on my other channel, but it's something that's very important and is something that is worth addressing and in highlighting so that there's more awareness on this because I am concerned about the current state of spirituality as well as self development because there are so many self development things out there. For example, just to throw out a name, Mind Valley, they have so much techniques that are based solely on spiritual bypassing. How do you do mind hacks? How do you do body hacks? How do you do life hacks? How do you do spiritual hacks, energy hacks? It's just hack this, hack that, pop psychology this, spiritual technique that to manifest what you want now in the moment and creating all this karmic chaos. It's a very serious thing. So, what is spiritual bypassing? Spiritual bypassing is when you choose not to learn from your past experiences and to do something that's easier. Okay, whether it's hacking, whether it's bypassing, whether it's ignoring or avoiding, these are all forms of spiritual bypassing. Okay, if you go through something traumatic or something angers you, and you're given an opportunity to talk about it, and you just say, "Oh, fuck that. No, I don't want to talk about it. It's over. It's in the past." No, it's not. You just passed an opportunity, and therefore, that was spiritual bypassing. You chose not to look at why you were angry. You chose not to look at what those things were that contributed to that moment that culminated in anger, that intense, really hot, seething anger. Okay, that volcanic, psychotic anger. That is something that stems from the past. So each time somebody chooses not to, no, it's too painful. No, it's too angering. No, it's too hard. PTSD, all of these other excuses, those are all spiritual bypass. Okay, when a person's in denial, when a person blames another person, whenever a person takes all the blame, okay, whether you're blaming another person 100% or taking the blame 100%, those are both forms of spiritual bypassing because it takes more than one, it takes at least two to create a situation. Okay, so if you're not willing to look at what the other person did to create that situation, you're spiritual bypassing. You're spiritually bypassing. Okay. Each time you choose to drink, you drink your problems away. You do other things. You have sex. Okay. Spiritual bypassing. Rather than dealing and sitting with your feelings and understanding yourself on a soul level, because this is your soul speaking to you. The emotional aspect of our life, as well as our mental aspect, are the yin and the yang of our soul expression. Emotions are the yin expression of our soul. The mental aspect is the yang expression of our soul. Okay, so are you ignoring both the yin and the yang? And a lot of times people do. Okay, they're going, "Oh, that's in the past. It's okay. It's never going to happen again." And then guess what happens? 3 months later, 1 year later, 3 years down the line, same exact scenario, energetically speaking, same exact scenario, same exact themes, different people, different situations, different locations. People lull themselves into thinking that they're on a different cycle, but they're not. They're really just in another cycle of the same sort. And the reason why people are blind to this is because they fixate so much on the details, on the minutiae of what happened. No, it was that person. No, it's because his name's Michael. You know, people come up with all sorts of crazy lunatic excuses and reasons. No, it's because they are greedy. No, it's because they did that. No, it's because this happened. And if that didn't happen, then none of this would have happened. None of that is true. Okay? It's a series of events and choices and themes that are recurring. And until you sit down and learn what the emotions are, what your mindsets are, and all these other things that are creating and attracting this into your life, it's going to happen again and again and again. Now, there are very powerful techniques that Mindvalley offers that demolishes these energies so that you don't experience it anymore. And what happens is that person is actually obliterating their soul. Yeah, it's very serious. It's soul obliteration. What I practice and what I preach is spiritual holism. What that practice does is actually spiritual destruction. And I was watching this video and I was like, I've seen this before. Why am I watching it again? But my soul was telling me to watch it again because I've evolved a lot and now I understand even more about energy. So it's like, okay, I'll watch this video. I already know it's spiritual bypassing, so why am I watching this again? And I watched up to this point where she has a live member. Okay, I'm not going to name her name, but she has a member of the stage come up and she does her spiritual magic on him, her spiritual bypassing technique. And after she does the technique, she asks him a question to think about something that is painful related to that situation, to that energy. And he couldn't do it. He was like, it's not that I can't think of it, but it's like it's difficult to pinpoint. It's difficult to relate. So when you do this soul obliteration technique, you lose empathy. You lose your ability to empathize. You lose your ability to feel because you're obliterating part of your soul. And because this part of your soul gets dislodged, of course, you're not going to feel it anymore. It's completely disconnected from yourself. So guess what happens later on? Who knows how long later down the line, but those karmic energies will come back. Because until you are whole, anything you do creates karma. And karma transcends lifetimes. So how will that energy come back in the next life? If it doesn't come back to bite them in the ass in this lifetime, imagine how intense that energy is going to be the next lifetime because they refuse to work through it. All that you do is just work through it a few times, no matter how painful it seems, rather than obliterating your soul. Okay, so soul obliteration is a bypassing technique. Soul blockage is another technique. These are all techniques that are available on Mindvalley. Okay, and thanks to them, I have technical terms for them. Because if they didn't do it, how would I know about it? How would I know what to call it? How would I know that it even exists? And how would I know to be able to tell you about it? So as harmful as it is, as ridiculous as it is, it's still amazing that it's there so that I can inform you not to do those things and what the consequences of doing those things are. Okay? When that person was looking at their memory, he said that it was like watching a movie. He has separated from his own past. That is not how you do spiritual work. That is the epitome of spiritual bypassing. When you have disconnected from yourself to such a degree that you cannot even feel your own past. Something that personally happened to you, don't know what it feels like anymore. You have spiritually bypassed. It's ridiculous. It's very, very ridiculous. And I don't know why people would want to do that, but if you don't have this type of spiritual knowledge, then how would you even know not to? Okay? Because some people are just so desperate for relief, for answers, that they're going to choose to not have integrity. Because that's what it is. It's a lapse in integrity. You don't have enough integrity to face your own demons, your own past, your own shadow that's a part of yourself. And no matter how dark that part of yourself is, it cannot hurt you because it is part of you. Okay? People say retarded things like, it is in your past. It is not a part of you. It is not you. No, of course not. The past is not you. It is what you make of the past that is you. And that is what you're actually healing and dealing with. It's not the past. It's how you perceive the past, how you relate with the past. All of that stuff carries forward. So in the end, when you do soul obliteration, when you do soul blockages, have you really learned anything? Have you found a way to empower yourself? No. You just have erased, proverbially erase something, because you can't erase anything. It's all energy. And as Einstein said, energy cannot be destroyed. Okay? Energy cannot just be destroyed. You cannot just erase something from your life. And when you do, there are severe karmic consequences. And not to get too much into it, but as I did more research into that particular type of energy work, it creates a karmic cataclysm. It convolutes karma up to 24 lifetimes. Okay? Because the past isn't as a lot of people perceive it. The past is a living and changing entity. It's an energy. It's a dynamic energy. The past isn't just set in stone. That's not how the past works. Granted, the past is more solid than the future and the present, but it's still not stone. It's not engraved. It's not adamantium. Okay? The past is more solid, it's more firm. Energetically, it's more firm, but it's still liquid. And so what happens is, depending to the degree of that soul obliteration, the karmic energies can unravel and convolute up to 24 lifetimes in very severe cases. Okay, karmic convolution. All the energies in the past and all these things, it's like you're blowing up a river. Okay, but it's much worse than that because it goes upstream. And there's really no physical equivalent to that. There's really no way to describe the extremity or severity of this type of energy work. Okay, so that's enough about spiritual bypassing. This is something that even my former spiritual mentor did, and it's affected my life as well as everybody else's life. And so it's something that, I can't avoid it. I choose not to avoid it because anything I ignore will become more powerful. And that's why I made this video about spiritual bypassing. This video isn't an intention to give any more power to it, but to give awareness of it. In so doing, you can start realizing when you start avoiding yourself, spending time with yourself, when you avoid looking at your past, when you avoid feeling something that is seemingly painful. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and embrace it. And then you'll notice that the pain will subside, but the emotions will still be there. Okay? So when you do this type of stuff, if you have the proper guidance and the proper tools, Doing your healing work doesn't have to be painful. That is all made up nonsense. Okay, all this pain and suffering from doing inner healing work is nonsense. Inner healing work doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be torturous. It doesn't have to last years. It's something that can happen very quickly and very rapidly, and you can start taking charge of your life. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this has helped you identify anything that you've done that's spiritual bypassing in nature. And also, I encourage you to take charge and not encourage other people in their spiritual bypassing. Because if somebody is frustrated at work, and rather than understanding why they're frustrated to go hit the gym, that's spiritual bypassing. Okay? It's not to say that they can't go to the gym, but after they go to the gym and work out their frustrations and their energies, will they go back to take a look at those energies, the events that caused that frustration in the first place, that they worked out, that they went to the gym to go work out of their own body, right? All of that matters. So it's not that you can't do anything, but it's having this integrity, having this habit of going back and understanding what really is it. Was it expectations? Was it assumptions? Was it an overreaction? What did I say? What did I contribute to it? These are all questions you can ask. When you don't ask any of these questions and choose to just blow over it, no matter what technique you're using, no matter what method, whether it's psychological or spiritual or physical, these are all spiritual bypassing. All right. If you have any other comments or things that you'd like to discuss in terms of spiritual bypassing, you're welcome to write it down in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you on that. And share this video. I hope you'll support me in this effort in spreading awareness of what spiritual bypassing is and why it's not beneficial and why it actually makes your life suck even more. Because the sooner you realize and take charge of your own life, the sooner you are empowered to change it. Okay? So spiritual bypassing is really just a way of prolonging the inevitable. And each time it happens, each time the cycle repeats itself, it will become more severe. So everybody has free will. And for me personally, I chose not to allow these cycles to continue. I chose to learn what it is happening, what's causing these cycles, what's causing these energies, what am I contributing to it? Okay, because back in the day, I was very narcissistic. It's like, no, I didn't contribute to anything. It's because they're stupid. It's because they're that, because they're dumb, they're greedy, these kinds of things. It's not true. Those are all judgmental or critical thoughts. Okay? Factually, what happened? Who said what? Who did what? These kinds of things. What are the contributions that were made or not made that could have made a difference in the way things turned out? This is how you start the journey of your own spiritual healing and taking power back into your own life, shifting your mindset. As you discover more and more about yourself, you'll realize there's a lot of shady and dark stuff that's lurking in the depths of your mind, and that's why these things are manifesting in your life, why you can't seem to get away from it, why the ghosts of the past seem to just keep coming back, no matter what country, what company, what friends. The ghosts of the past seems to keep coming back. Okay? And that's because people do spiritual bypassing. And I admit that I've done spiritual bypassing before. Rather than admitting that I was contributing to a situation or a problem, what did I do? I moved to another state. Okay? I broke ties with my family. I did all this other stuff. That was spiritual bypassing. But at the same time, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have met my spiritual mentor, I wouldn't have learned about these things, I wouldn't have evolved on a spiritual level. And Hawaii is prime energy for spiritual growth and development. So in doing so, I actually put myself into a position to learn things correctly and to stop spiritually bypassing. So it's amazing. Sometimes the choices that you make in life will lead you into the ones that will get you out of it. Okay, because things are all connected and you're being guided by your own soul. So nothing you do in your life is wasted, and nothing that you've done is for naught. You can learn from it. You know, I moved to Hawaii for 4.5 years and I learned so much more about myself, my world, my reality, my friends and family, the universe. It's amazing. And so, if I were to go back in time, I wouldn't change anything. Because if I changed something, then I wouldn't be where I am now. And I don't know where I would have ended up, right? Sooner or later, I most likely would have ended up in Hawaii because there's just something that called me there. But it might have taken longer. Who knows? It might have taken decades. So I'm glad that it happened sooner rather than later, and that I made conscious decisions for self-development, self-growth, and ultimately that led me to spirituality. Okay, because before this I was not big on spirituality. Let me tell you, I was on the same lines as like a Vulcan. You know, everything's dictated by logic, mathematics, probability, rationality. Emotions were not a thing. Okay, but now it's like, oh, okay, actually emotions are very important. So it's a huge shift, huge radical shift, and I'm telling you this to give you some perspective of who I used to be. Okay, because I'm not like that anymore. I'm very different from how I used to be. Also, the way I speak's different, the words I use are very different, and it's not on a superficial level, it's on a very deep level. Okay, the way that I speak and the words that I choose are consciously chosen. It's not intuitively chosen. In the beginning, it was intuitive, and then I started looking at why I chose these words. So once I did that, I became more conscious, I became more aware, I started understanding more. So now I choose words on a conscious level because I understand how the energy works, how the synergy works between words. If you say certain things, it creates certain energies. It contributes to a particular mindset. Okay, and the mindset that I want to create for myself is spiritual empowerment, spiritual development, and understanding oneself, connecting with oneself. Because when you do that, you are stepping into your divinity, your holiness, and your power. All right. Woo. Okay. So that ended up being even longer than I thought it would be, but this is a very serious topic, and so I ended up sharing some of my own experience and stuff that hopefully will help you put into perspective. I've done it too. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. This is something that I don't do anymore. Okay. I want to bring awareness to it and to hold myself accountable to all the things that I have done and have done in the past that I haven't gotten to yet, because I've done a lot of things. So I'm addressing each and every one of these rather than spiritually bypassing, and rather than using spiritual techniques to elevate myself to a level to where I can afford to ignore these. But in reality, you can't afford any of these. Okay? Because once you work with it, it no longer holds you down. It no longer impedes you. It empowers you. It strengthens you. It gives you a solid foundation of understanding of who you are, why you made those choices, okay? Why, where you picked those choices up from. You learn these things from somebody, your family, your society, your culture. All of these things contribute to who you are. So as you learn these things, you can then separate all these things that you've learned and picked up from outside of you to becoming who you truly are. You don't truly know who you are until you have separated yourself from all the other things. And who you are is based on your experiences, your truth, your own path to discovering the truth of things, getting in line with your soul expression. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to end it over there. That was a very wonderful note. Soul expression is a very wonderful thing. It's a combination of our emotions and our mental thoughts. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me and for sticking out throughout this entire video. Please support my channel by subscribing and liking my videos and sharing this with other people, because this is really a big topic, especially this video. You know, spiritual bypassing is so unbelievably mainstream. It's everywhere. Self-development industry, spiritual industry, psychology. It's all about coping mechanisms rather than addressing the actual root. When you address the root, you don't need any of these coping mechanisms. All right. Namaskara. See you guys around and have a great day.